Good
Oh, good.
morning. Welcome to the Saturday morning coffee chat. Before our guest speaker gets on, I just wanted to go over a couple of things. So before I forget, I just tagged a few of you in our bot group. There's a gratitude ABCs. Gratitude ABCs. And so what it is, we're trying to go through the alphabet, so we tag on each other. So I Karen Johnson did B, so then somebody needs to go in and do C, and then somebody will do D, and then E, and we just kind of keep going. And it's just use that letter to determine what you're grateful for, or just pick a thing. So I tagged some of you in that, so make sure you go do that.
Sorry, that's me.
There you go. Okay, and then, so we've been going through the 12-week year. Deb and I both did our takeaways last week. At any time, because I know a number of us are reading the book or listening to it, at any time, if you want to just share takeaway, something that stands out to you in the group, please do that, because the more input we get, the more, you know how we're reading things, or even when you've read something and then you reread it, you like something new pops out at you. And so we're each going to kind of like have these different takeaways or these different ahas, or something's going to speak to us differently. So if you want to share what those are for you in the group, that would be great. And I just wanted to, we talked about just kind of like what the 12-week year is about. And the next part is going to be about, you know, creating that emotional connection, having the vision before we do the execution. And and we've done vision boards before, and we've done, you know, some of this kind of like thinking long term. I sent out a worksheet that's going to go with the next couple of chapters. So I will resend that out again, just make sure everybody has it. Yeah, that one, Deb's pointing there. And what some of the things are is our first step is creating that vision. So our brain, here's the interesting thing. Our brain has this mechanisms. It's very powerful. It has your amygdala, which is, it reacts negatively. Like, it is designed for survival. It wants to mitigate all risk. And so when it perceives something that is out in the future, it wants to, it sends out the red flags, right? Let me just look here, right? It wants to protect you. And so when we think about where we're at and where we want to get to, it looks challenging, it looks risky, it looks uncertain. And so that amygdala, the response, comes in and kind of then it makes us back down a little bit. And so then there's the second part, which is the prefrontal cortex, which actually lights up when we see an open expanse. So if you think about when you've been out hiking and you look out over the, you know, the view from the mountain where you're at, or you're in a park and you see this big open field, and it just creates this sort of like an excitement, that's your prefrontal cortex. It loves that. And so that's what fires up when you're looking at, you know, your future and that vision you have in the future of what you know is possible. But then we have that tug of war between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. And then the third part being that our brains can change over time. So the new, you know, research shows there's hyperplasticity is called, but your brain's ability to change and develop physiologically, and it does so based on how you use it. So if you're creating that vision and you're looking at that vision like daily, weekly, this is part of our morning savers routine, the morning miracle morning. And then we kind of strengthen that prefrontal cortex. We train our brain to be looking for that vision. It will then, you know, you'll be more apt to take action on it. So we have to keep training the brain. This is the vision, this is the vision, this is the vision. But if we don't do that and we're always in the amygdala response of it's uncertain, it's uncomfortable, we're afraid, we doubt ourselves, we don't think we're worthy because we've tried it so many times and we haven't achieved there, that's our amygdala holding us back, and we train that part of our brain. So just know that as we go forward, because we've done some vision work before, we've done some planning before, we've done creating the action steps. we're going to get to where this execution, the first step is the vision. So we're going to start creating that. And then we're going to start creating the plan and breaking it down into steps. And then we're going to do new things, new ways to help you put that into implementation. So a plan is only as good as its implementation, right? So that's what we're going to get to in that second part. So I'm excited about it. So stick with me, show up, do the work, and you're gonna start training your brain to show up and do the work with you. So, and then if you saw in the Fit Family page, this last thing, and I'll let Sonya take over. We have lined out the coffee chats through January. Tentatively, that's what we've got it worked out. But we are going to have, excitingly, we're going to have Sherry Mulhaney, January 9th. She is actually getting certified as a life coach. I work with her very closely in life stuff, and she is going to, her company, because she's a realtor, she's been one forever, they have, the one thing is their like company standard. And that's the book we're going to be reading in January. And she's actually got some worksheets and some things that she's going to share with us. So January 9th, she's going to be our guest speaker. And then that's going to take us into the week after that. We are actually going to start prepping for an actual vision party on the coffee chat that next weekend. So we're going to bring it all together. We're going to like build upon each week, each day, and we're going to bring it all together. And we're going to have our best 12-week year ever as we go into 2021. So I'm super excited about it. So just keep reading, keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep believing in yourself, and let's make it the best. Yes, Deb.
Yeah, and part of the vision board party is we're going to repeat what we had done before. So while you're reading and going through your magazines or whatnot, or whatever you're cruising online, gather the quotes or something that's inspiring you, because that's what we're going to apply for our vision board after we go through our exercises. So anyways, that's a reminder.
Yes, great tip. So anything you see, it's like, ooh, yes, that can be part of my vision board. Just start collecting those in a file on your computer or a hard, file, clipping them or doing whatever. And not only is that going to help you get prepped and be able to really just come to the vision board party and have fun putting it together, you're training your brain by seeing those things and clipping them and saving them. It's this subconscious message you're sending to your brain that's going to help bring that prefrontal cortex, help it overpower your amygdala. So, okay, let's introduce our guest speaker, Sonya. I've known Sonya for years and years, and she's amazing. And I don't know how Sonya feels about this, but I love sharing that she's an ethnobotanist. When she first told me that, I'm like, what? What is that? That's a thing? And she told me what it was, and I just was so impressed and fascinated by that. And she has this passion for this. Not only she went and studied it, in university, but she has used it to create something that is helpful to the world, is helpful to each person to feel better about themselves. All the while thinking about the ethnical, parts of using plants and helping a region, and knowing that when you're taking something from the earth and you're helping farmers and you're helping, cultivate things in a more positive way, that's not harming our environment, but then also using them medicinally and topically to help us with our health and our wellness. So love the work that she does, and I'm excited for her to be our guest speaker and share with us today. So Sonya, take it away.
Thank you, Louise. Hey, everybody, I'm Sonya. It is super good to be here. I'm loving this coffee chat. I don't normally get up at 7 a.m. on Saturdays, but I really, I think you have some really exciting things planned. It makes me want to get up at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. And I love that both you and Deb have the flyers for the new year, it looks like, both in your vision here, which is super cool. So just kind of a great job, by the way, on introducing ethnobotany. I was going to kind of go over it just a little bit, so I'm glad I don't have to do a whole lot because you covered it really well. It was excellent. And so ethnobotany essentially is how people use plants culturally. And when I studied initially, when I went into it, I was really interested in like the medicine side of it. So therapeutic herbalism really, and like how cultures and the integrative use of medicine. So the allopathic and the homeopathic aspects, right? And so I went to Mexico and studied that like integrative use of, like I worked with a curandera that studied had plants and was making plant medicine, but she also had antibiotics, right? So this idea of using different types of medicine for healing. And so, and I've always loved plants. I'm from Juneau, Alaska. I love the forest. I love just the healing that's in nature and the earth. And so my original interest in developing my skincare line was in trying to get medicine to people. And it was really stemmed from the studying that I did in college and since. And so like I had this really cool idea that I could get skincare that then could transfer medicine back into the body internally, right? And there's some truth and there's some capacity for that, absolutely. But we're going to look at today is that what skincare really what it can do is to amplify what we're doing from within already. So healthy skin really is much more about, and glowing, beautiful, supple, healthy, vibrant skin is about what we do on the inside and the stuff we do as part of our daily routine, which a lot of you guys, which is what you guys are really doing with exercise and water and nutrition and everything that you're doing. That's what's most important. Like I can basically with skincare, I can like help keep my skin, you know, balanced and help it work within the elements. Absolutely. And I can help it bring out what's inside. But if what's going on inside is crap, and the other things I'm doing in my life is crap, then that's not going to have any really lasting effect. So that's like the main piece. And the skin, you know, it's already its own biological instrument, right? Like it's pretty intense. There's actually, I think a lot left to be learned about the skin as an organ and what it does. But not only does it protect and keep water in, but it also is designed to eliminate toxins and waste. Like that's a huge aspect of it. And it works with all the other organs and everything else going in our body to do that. And so there's so many skin conditions out there, eczema and psoriasis, that, for example, that have really like deeply ingrained internal causes. And a lot of that is not really well understood. Even when you go to a dermatologist and get creams, there's a lot of times people get creams and they aren't really addressing what's going on inside. And kind of back to the whole skin from the outside inside piece. This is where like aromateuticals, essential oils in skin when used in skincare are called aromateuticals, right? And so the idea is that if you put essential oils in your skincare in really small doses, that you would get some of that going into deeper levels of your skin and being more effective and helping get other ingredients and help them move back into lower layers of your skin. But the cool thing about essential oils is because they have a water soluble aspect to them as well as oil soluble, they can actually pass through to deeper levels to get to your blood vessels, to get back into your system and your body, which is, I mean, there's a lot of cool potential there for having deeper levels of internal benefits from your skincare, but it's also a safety consideration because that's why you don't want to put essential oils right on your skin, because that can have really detrimental effects to your organs and other aspects of your body because it goes into your bloodstream. I wasn't planning to share that, but I did. So let's look at the skin. So there's some basic enemies of the skin, and I'm going to just do an overview of all of them. How long do I have, Louise? Before I just, yep.
Try to keep it between 30 and 40 minutes total. So yeah,
The total.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I don't think I have a lot, so that's good.
No, you do 15 minutes, you're good.
All right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kind of points here that are the things that like can be detrimental to the skin. And then we'll just talk a little bit more about the 4, I think, that are most relevant to what to what you guys are doing here in a fitness program, fitness group. So lack of exercise, right, is one that can lead to bad skin. Sudden weight loss, which is super important. And so with the exercise, there's detoxification and rejuvenation that comes from that. So if you're not exercising regularly, you're not getting that sweat. You're not getting the things eliminated from your system. Sudden weight loss, which affects the elasticity of your skin. And what I know about Team Beachbody is that it's really about like putting into practice things that over time have a benefit and effect in a very healthy and slow process, right? That works well with your body versus like sudden weight loss programs or supplements, for example. Poor air quality. And I put this on, I put oxygen on this. Some of this stuff I just know automatically, and doing some of my research, I learned a little bit more. So poor air quality isn't just about not getting enough oxygen, but it's also about like having your heat too high in your house or having your AC going all the time. Like these things that kind of pull moisture from the air, right? That then of course cause, I mean, because when you think about your skin, like so much of it, like if I'm dehydrated or if I'm smoking or if I'm just different things I'm doing, putting like too much AC on, for example, pulling out the moisture, like what's happening is my skin's like adjusting for that, right? It's dealing with that. And so if it's dehydrated and then I'm like putting like lots of wind or AC or something on it, then it's not going to be able to bounce back the way it needs to. It's not going to be able to stay supple and balanced. Instead, it's going to like pull and dry and crack or wrinkle, right? So that's all about really just about these different conditions that we have coming from outside and from within, and our body's ability to handle that. Okay, chemical exposure. So, there's stuff in our food, and there's stuff in externally, environmentally, pollution, for example, that, if I pour bleach on my hand or whatever, that there's going to be an effect there externally, chemically, that is going to affect my skin. Makeup. And so really mostly that's about like the ability for my skin to sweat or to whether or not it clogs or not, right? So if I wear makeup all the time, and this is one of the big things that I changed right off the bat when I started making skincare, is I started taking my makeup off like as soon as possible. And then eventually I just stopped wearing makeup. I just wear a little blush and mascara, but I used to wear full foundation. And I know I used to work out in full foundation, like we go to the gym, we want to look good, whatever. And would keep makeup on my skin while I'm doing these things where my body needs to be sweating and my skin needs to breathe and respirate and do what it needs to do. And that can cause blemishes and just in general, like not let my body do what it needs to do as well as it needs to do. If I have stuff on my face, when I'm trying to sweating is about that conduction process, right? Of like things being pulled up and salts and toxins being pulled up through the water supply and pushed out of my pores. If I'm not letting that happen, then I'm not pulling it from the other parts of my body too. So it's going to have a really detrimental effect. And so just getting that clean, keeping my face clean as much as possible, really. Smoking, like, I mean, some of you guys may know this, but like oxygen or carbon dioxide binds to your hemoglobin, like it's like 200 or 400 times faster than oxygen. And so if like I'm smoking, then that oxygen's not getting to my blood cells and then not getting through my body the way it needs to. That's why you'll see people who smoke a lot or who have smoked a lot, and you can tell, I mean, you can really tell somebody who does because of the way their skin looks. And the sun really, aside from burning, there's a lot of good to the sun. I personally am not somebody that is very anti-sun. I think that there's some, that's a whole other conversation. And so I think and I'm from Alaska too, but we do have we do get more radiation here because of the way we're positioned in the earth and the way it tilts and everything. So we do get a lot of radiation. So I think if I'm someone that's outside all the time in the light, in the sun, that there is some benefit to protecting that, right? To protecting the skin. We do get vitamin D production through sun exposure. So, but you know, too much sun exposure and burning can lead to too many free radicals on our skin. And so that causes long-term breakdown and damage. And what was the piece? Yeah, the free radicals, and the burning and all of that. Dehydration. So this is, so our water is like, our skin is what, 75%? Is that right? 70% water, our skin cells. It's probably the same as our body, huh? I should know that. Anyway, I want to give you the right number. Where did I write that down? 70%. So skin cells are 70% water. And the water is necessary for the buoyancy of our skin. And that's kind of back to like when we're doing things like smoking and drinking too much coffee, like me. And not supplementing with the water, not putting the water back in our system. Like drinking water is so much, yeah, cheers, is so much about maintaining that level in our skin cells in our body so that we can maintain a buoyancy in our skin, right? And our body uses water for everything. So keeping those levels up is super, super important. And without that, that's where you're going to get your wrinkles. A lot of your wrinkles are going to come from not having that balance of water. And a lot of skincare is designed to keep that water level in as well, right? To draw moisture to your skin, like a humectant, for example, like glycerin is designed to draw moisture. So it helps keep any of the water that you have right where it needs to be to keep that buoyancy. But there's only so much you can do externally if you're not keeping that water level going into your body, that which is going to be a huge source of where that moisture comes from, right? Especially when we're out here in this dry, you can't always control what's going on externally in the environment and the levels of the wind and the air quality and what it's doing and what it's providing as far as pulling or adding moisture or whatever, right? So for the most part, we're in a lot of situations inside all the time or outside in the wind here, especially right now, where that's being stressed. And so we need to keep that extra moisture or water in our system. And then diet, cellular nutrition, and detoxification, right? If I overload my body with pesticides, for example, or processed foods and sugars and things like that, my body's not going to be able to eliminate that stuff fast enough to do what it needs to do. I did want to share a cool tidbit I learned when I was kind of studying superfoods and organic in general. There's actually a study from University of California, Berkeley, UC Berkeley, or maybe it was Stanford. There's a study out of Stanford where they actually looked at weight loss when someone ate whole foods, organic whole foods, like the study group, and then a study group that was eating just regular off the shelf, right? So non-organic, processed, or just non-organic in general. I don't even think it was processed. I believe it was just organic versus non-organic. And they studied the calories burned, and that when you do organic, you actually burn 1.5 times more calories because your body is more efficient. And so there's another like plug for organic, clean eating, which I know is important to you guys. And so the 4 things I was going to look at a little bit closer were water, diet, exercise, and sudden weight loss, where I think are the things that are kind of relevant to what you guys are doing as a group together. And I really kind of covered it, but I'm going to go back through and make sure I didn't miss any points here. So on the diet, so poor diet and poor nutrition, the things that that's going to lead to is wrinkling and sagging of the skin, poor skin tone, unbalanced complexion, and spots or rash outbreaks. And so when you're having skin stuff come up too, that's what's kind of cool about kind of learning about the skin, is that when things come up, you can actually then go back and reverse engineer and maybe look at, and okay, well, maybe I'm not getting enough water, or maybe it's because I've been eating this way and that way for so long. Like, it helps us to kind of, it's like another indicator of the things we need to add or change in our daily life. So, and as far as water, and water quality is important too. You know, there are, I think we have pretty good water quality here, but there's a lot of places in the world that don't. And, you know, and in this country, even, where there's like a lot of metals and waste and stuff that's in the water system. And so making sure we have filtered, clean water is really important for our bodies. And so, in addition to keeping the body balanced and maintaining that 70% level in our skin cells, um, I think that water also, like I kind of added this, is important for elimination and waste and getting toxins. You know what I mean? So like, because we're supposed to be sweating and removing the stuff that's in our system, that we are exposed to, either you know, just stuff we are ingesting, or stuff even that's coming from without, like environmental toxins, for example, that can get into our system. There's a lot of different ways we can get things into our system. And so our body's process in general, and it has its own byproducts through all its different chemical processes that's going on. And so sweating is about getting that out. And so exercise obviously helps with that. But if we don't have the water balance in our system, then we're just gonna, you know, we're not getting everything out in the way that we should. So having enough water is going to really support that process. And exercise, right? And now exercise is good for the whole body, including the skin. So it's going to increase your blood flow, which also means it's increasing your nutrient flow. So everything that you're putting in your system, that you're eating, the nutrients that you're taking in, when you're exercising, then you're helping get that move through your body. You're helping the oxygen in the blood get through your body, get to all your cells. So everything becomes more efficient. And it's essential, really, in some form or another. Exercise is essential for all of that to happen. So anytime your heart rate's up, you get skin benefit. And then back to sweating and detox. And so there's actually, so I study through a program that is organic skincare, right? So I take my advanced classes with them, and that's where I started formulating skincare. And so there are portions in there about skin science, which is what I'm kind of drawing from when I share with you. But there's so much more out there, and I think yet to be learned. And so the whole detox elimination piece is kind of something that I've kind of explored further, that I'm adding to what they've provided. I just think that all these things that we do, the water, the diet, the exercise, are really all about our body's ability to do what it needs to do to eliminate what doesn't need to be in there, and to move through what does need to be in there. So I think that I'd like to keep reiterating that. Now, sudden weight loss, what that does is that causes the skin to sag and droop, right? So if somebody gets a surgery that, like, all of a sudden that they like have to lose like 40, 50, 60, 100 pounds within a short period of time, unfortunately that can lead to intense sagging and skin drooping. Some of that might say, so scientifically, there's some stretching that when you stretch the skin too far, it may never go back to its original shape. But the benefit of losing weight slowly and steadily, which is what you guys are doing, at least from my experience with Team Beachbody, it's much more about getting like those habits in place, right? And like actually losing weight slow and steady over time that's going to be lasting and that can be maintained. When you lose weight in that way, the skin has more of a potential to return to its original shape. As you're going to get less stretching and sagging. And then I did make a list of some foods that I thought would be beneficial for, if I have time. I don't know if you guys want to hear some of them.
Sure.
Okay. So organic foods in general are essential for healthy skin, right? And anything that's higher in nutrients, such as zinc, right? So zinc is an essential mineral for clear skin. So one example of something that's high in zinc is going to be, I don't want to say the wrong nut, but I know cashews, for example, are high in zinc. And so omega-rich oils, so you're like anything like nut oils, for example, or seed oils. Fish is another one that's high in omega-3. So anything high in omega-rich oils is going to keep your skin supple. And they're actually anti-inflammatory as well, which keeps things calmed down, right? And so olive oil, hazelnut, hemp, and flaxseed oils are all oils that are going to be good in omegas. Some superfoods, so anything that has vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, right, is going to be good for the skin. Blueberries are good, for example. And they can actually have quite an effect on your complexion. So avocado is one of them. And avocado is high in oleic acid, and a lot of the oils that you'll see on the market too externally that are really good skin oils and butters that we use in skincare are going to be high in oleic acid as well. Dandelion is going to support the elimination aspect of your body for your skin. I said cashews already. And oh, that's proteins. Okay. And there's some others on here as well. Brazil nuts, goji berries, apples, almonds, flax seeds. I was just pulling the examples from a book that I absolutely love. So, yeah. So that's what I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great information. I would love to hear if anybody had an aha moment. One of mine was just when we exercise and we're getting our heart pumping more, and that's being more effective in getting our nutrients dispersed. And I never really even thought about that. So now I'm more inclined to exercise. Like I need a lot of mental tricks to, make me show up. So love that. And that ending with cellular nutrition and then the detox, like I talk about this a lot, that our body has a natural detox process. When we do a 3-day refresh, that's cleansing. That is removing the toxins, the built up toxins, and to allow your body to do that natural process. So, so it's important to, some way to cleanse out, even if you just start eating more plant-based foods like we've been doing this week, drinking more water, doing that exercise, like she says, to get that sweat out, to start getting that elimination process. And then the sufficient water, which I know we've all been struggling with a bit. And I think that happens too in the winter when it's colder, that our body needs the extra water. Our body pulls water for the organs to function, including your skin. So if you're not hydrating enough, it's going to do the bare minimum. Your body's going to keep, it's in survival mode, and it's going to pull that water so that you're still functioning internally. But then, I think the last place it goes is to our skin. So, so it's important to make sure that we are getting that hydration. So Awesome. Any other questions for Sonya? Any comments? And
Thank you, Sonya. It was good. Appreciate it.
It's
yeah,
nice to see you.
Thank you, Sonia. It was awesome information.
when we can get together again, I know Sonya holds workshops. I know Karen's gone to one. This time last year, she was doing, creating gifts, you're hand creating gifts for people. But she does have a Facebook page. I put it in the weekly email that went out. If you go to Facebook and put in Just Botanicals, that's her Facebook page. I know she has some of her products listed there. And one that I just recently got from her was stocking stuffer size sanitizers. So she has actually formulated and created those. I've been using her skincare for a couple of years and love it because I know what's going on my face is all natural. It's been hand formulated by somebody who absolutely loves our environment and plants and our, and health. So definitely check her out. She has specials going on for Christmas. And then just the last thing of the toner that I use, I have given some to my son and I do it too, like, especially if I'm having too much chocolate or too many sugary things. And I start feeling a zit coming on. I use the toner when I just start to feel it and it never, comes out. It takes care of it before I have to have this big zit, which I used to have all the time.
Hi, Sonia. Thank you so much. I'd like to have you come back and give us the skincare routine. Because I didn't know 70% of our skin cell is water, and which is good because we're trying to drink a lot of water. But I do live in air conditioning environment, and it is a lot different than when I lived in Anchorage, where it was really dry because of the lack of moisture. Well, it's a lack of moisture here with air conditioning. So maybe my skincare routine should be different because of that. I know, like you said, when you wear makeup, I forgot to wash my face one night wearing makeup full bore, and then I definitely was getting a pimple coming out. So even at my age, I was like, really? But I'd like to have you come back and share with us a skincare routine, and and I'd be interested in how that would be. But thank you.
Yeah, that would be, I would love to do something like that. And when I did more Team Beachbody, one of the things I would do was talking about self-care. And I know you guys talk about self-care, and I think that translates across that why, right? So like doing the things, like trying to do different things that are going to motivate us to take care of ourselves better.
Yeah.
And I think self-care is a huge piece of that. Last night I took a bath, but I laid out, I had some coconut oil and some salt for a scrub and some cocoa butter. Like I had all this stuff laid out, and just the way that made me feel was super amazing. And it's just a reminder to continue to do the things for myself that are good for me. And so that would be a really neat extension that we can do here, I think, and as part of the self-care piece.
Yeah, and so I'm just showing your Just Botanicals Facebook page, because if you click on the video, she has done some, things like that. Her skincare routine and just some of the things that she formulates together. So it is great to go check that out. She's awesome. One of the things in the 12-week year, just final, and we'll get off here, is a vision creates passion, and passion is defined as a strong and barely controllable emotion. So when we create our vision, we're going to create that passion, and we're going to get that emotional connection to our goals. But when you see passion in action, like with Sonya and her formulating skincare and just all that, she just deep belief she has in all this stuff, it's amazing to see. So we're going to create this in ourselves for the next year. So yay. Thank you, Sonya, so much for coming on. Let me take a quick boomerang for our fans on Instagram. not me. All right, so everybody say, wait, boomerang, say good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome. Okay. All right, again, thanks, ladies. Have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to go into the BOD group. I tagged you guys, do your gratitude ABC. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Nice to see all of you. Thanks, Louise.
Thanks again, Sonia.
Bye, Louise.
Bye.
Bye, guys.